What's up, guys? Just wanted to go over some things revolving fat loss, cutting, whatever you kind of call it. But pretty much, I want to start off by saying that I think it's pretty common in kind of today's time for people to kind of think that they need to kind of look like a bunch of people that they see on social media and these crazy physiques. They need to be six-pack. They need to have a six-pack as a female even. But I want to start off, as I was saying, by saying that you have to be careful of what you want, and you really have to be careful on how you go about it. Obviously, there's going to be some people that can really attain those things easier because of genetics or, just their ability to kind of stay consistent and kind of enjoyment at the end of the day. But I think it's really important that you kind of realize that there's always a line that you should draw where it gets kind of unhealthy and it gets kind of, I guess you could say, addictive in a way. And there's nothing wrong with just loving the whole fitness thing and, loving the part of changing your body over time. There's nothing wrong with that. But you just have to be aware of the consequences that come with a certain amount of fat loss. Because there comes a point where it becomes really unhealthy and it affects your overall health. It affects your training. It also affects your appearance, obviously. But I do want to mention a little kind of personal story that I have from high school, and I'll also attach some pictures. Obviously I'll start off by saying I've always been a pretty kind of stocky, overweight kid. This kind of transitioned all the way through school, especially through high school. I wasn't necessarily obese, but I was overweight, and one of the things that kind of really made me unhappy was obviously the way I look, but the fact that I had this kind of hanging fat all over my body, especially in my pec area and obviously the love handle areas. And I just really got tired of it, and I eventually just started looking into the whole weight loss thing and kind of learning as much as I can. And obviously I made mistakes, but I went on and did it. But one of the first mistakes that I made was trying to cut my calories instantly without really knowing, because obviously you need to be in a deficit. That's a given, but you don't need to be in a crazy deficit to lose fat over time. I think that's something that kind of gets misunderstood by a lot of people, especially people that want fast results. There is no such thing as fast results. There is no such thing as cheating your way to your goal. I think you really need to put the time in and the effort in and be patient. That's another thing. You have to be really patient, especially when you're trying to lose fat. Especially if you're someone who is new, who has never been anywhere close to this certain goal that you're targeting. If you've always been like kind of slightly overweight, if you've always had like these love handles, whatever, then it's kind of crazy to think to kind of almost picture yourself looking in that dream goal that you're aiming for. But as I was saying, I cut my calories way too low, and for a while I was eating decently and I was losing a little bit of weight because one of the first simple things I did was kind of clean up my diet. I used to eat a lot of junk food, a lot of fast food, and just those two things, taking them out, really did a lot for my fat loss progress. But obviously, as you know, you have to kind of learn how to track your own diet if you really want to optimize your fat loss. So that's exactly what I did. I kind of literally downloaded an app, a random app. I think it was called My Macros, and I just kind of taught myself how to track, how to weigh my food. I also bought a food scale kind of taught myself how to use it and how to kind of implement it into the app. And over time, as I got to my senior year of high school, I do want to mention that I started this around summer of junior year, so going into senior year, and I kind of started to see a lot of progress once I got towards like the middle of senior year, because that's when I kind of got the hang of the whole tracking thing, and it all started to come together. But I've always had this kind of dream of seeing myself in a six-pack. That's all I've ever wanted, all I've ever kind of dreamed for, because I've never had it. And I can see a lot of people that think this way, because I was one of them as well. But obviously I've come to learn that there's way more to a physique, way more to the whole lifestyle than just a simple six-pack. It's not all about that. But obviously I ended up getting the six-pack, and I was kind of happy, but I kind of took it a step further. I want it more in depth. I want to see all the details. I want to see all the details on the sides of my abs, obviously the main abdominals. But I kept going and kept dieting even harder. So I kept removing even more food. I got to a point where I was eating, I think, around 1,400 calories, which is probably around what a person does for a contest prep in bodybuilding, which is really low, and really unnecessary, because obviously I wasn't doing none of that. I was simply trying to get a six-pack. But what I didn't really notice is that how it was affecting my overall health, and obviously the way I looked. I'll attach pictures. My face was really sunken in, and I didn't have much muscle already to begin with, because I was only going to the gym. I was going to the gym pretty consistently, but I was already in a deficit, and I didn't have the necessary nutrients to kind of, help me gain muscle, even if I was already in my beginner stages. So I was pretty much only to get kind of toned, if you could say that. But the main thing is the health part. I really took a hit in the health. There was a point where I couldn't really, my hormones were all over the place, and I had kind of no kind of want for sexual interactions or anything like that. I was kind of just dialed in my whole fat loss progress and the gym and training and stuff. And obviously another side effect was the excessive hunger, the excessive amount of hunger that I got, and these kind of thoughts of food all the time. You're constantly thinking about food 24/7. You're always hungry. Nothing you eat satiates your stomach. I think I probably spent, after this point, once I started eating a little more, I think I spent at least 4 months of this constant hunger and these thoughts of hunger before everything kind of started going slightly back to normal. But one thing I could say that I probably did good is I did kind of reverse diet. I did slowly start to implement calories. I rarely kind of binge, which I probably wished I did, because I'm not saying it was the right thing, but in terms of at the time, I probably would have wanted to binge because I was just so hungry. But I'll probably even attach some pictures of some foods I used to eat I used to have these cheat days because I was so hungry, so I would implement these cheat days sometimes. And I think at some point I started having these weekly, once a week, and these kind of helped me kind of just get away from my cravings and whatnot. But it was really difficult to kind of get over this hurdle of this non-stop thinking of food. And I just kind of wanted to explain and kind of just help others be more cautious of what they really want, because obviously there is a level of fat loss that you could achieve, and it's attainable and it's healthy. But I think in today's world, everyone wants to be just ripped and just be like 4%, 3% body fat, which is it's not sustainable, it's not healthy. So